Yo guys, I'm still Yellow, and today I figured that this Norwegian dude should talk about a topic that I find to be very interesting in the world of strategy. It's gonna be about triangulation, which I'll get to shortly. If you're wondering what is happening with this channel, take a look at the video I made about my return. So aside from that, let's get deep into the topic here. So the term, as far as I can tell, it comes from like the intelligence world and with spies and like the FBI and that sort of stuff from way back, like around the war times and such, where you're trying to figure out something or you're trying to figure out something important, and by having enough information, you're able to figure out the true answer. That might sound weird, but reality has it so that if you know that 5 plus 5 equals something, you will most likely land on it being 10, if nothing weird happens, naturally. In the world of Counter-Strike, you can use this to a larger degree in two different ways. One will be physically, where you're trying to shoot somebody through a wall. You move a little bit, but you can still probably guess where the enemy will be behind the wall. So now you're going to take their position, and then you're going to add the change of your change, or in movement per se, and then you will apply where he should probably be, and now you can do your best to try and get a result in which, if you're playing against bad people or semi-good people, they might easily die from that because you just get to crush them through the wall instead of actually, having to miss or miss completely. So the better you become at that sort of stuff, the easier it is. But in the world of strategy, things get way different, completely different, because you will fight against a lot of people and they will have very human tendencies. So let's say that you are like silver elite in the game. Now things become different because people have very basic things that you can just learn and predict and quote-unquote abuse, for a lack of a better term, and that will work out really well. This is why I, for example, on this map and on Cache a couple of times in the past, I've been able to bully the enemy, which is pretty fun, and it might also seem cruel, but it's not really. So if the enemy team have one good enemy and he know that he's really good, he might go a little bit berserk. Maybe he will become, or trying to become, like an entry fragger, because he know that he's the best enemy. So if you're able to shut down the enemy team on a site, for example site A, that means that there's a bigger chance for them to now attack site B instead next round. That means that you can just swap sites if you know that the skill level you're playing against, they're going to use those sorts of levels of tactics and strategy. So, of course, it's easier said than done, but at the lower levels of skill, people do this way more often. In which eventually they might do other more nuanced things, but that is something that you need to kind of sort of wait on, and also you need to practice and learn, because everybody are different, and again, we are not predicting the future here. We are only trying to look for the most ordinary adaptations that people tend to do, and then we are trying to manipulate that, as I snap that guy's neck crisply. Pretty nice. So yeah, okay, it might sound weird or crazy, but it does make a lot of sense, and it makes even more sense as you become better and better, because first and foremost, you will probably eventually understand that, okay, because this happened, this will happen. So now you effectively have most likely the result that is going to go down. But then suddenly something else might happen, and if there are tendencies there, then you will be able to adapt to that sort of stuff as well. So yeah, let's then hit on like level 2 or level 3 type of decisions. And they, by the way, they are the ones that you always want to do, and they are the ones that the professional players are doing. They make everything vastly much more difficult for the enemy team. And that will be, for example, holding or tossing grenades and waiting, gathering information, maybe being super stubborn and pushing a particular site like 5 or 8 times in a row, and then randomly only once they will hit a different site. Like things like that. That makes it increasingly difficult to be able to predict anything. But this is where the triangulation thing becomes like obsolete, and you really just need to try and play smart, play sneaky, play more slow, match them, and try and dismantle them every time you get the chance to, while being skillful and smart. If not, then of course it's going to be a lot easier, and this is the good and bad side of how, yeah, strategy can be finicky in that sort of way. What I will add though is that this can also be done when it comes down to the general tactics or strategies that people tend to do. For example, if you know that you have a weak particular side and only so many people have been killed on the site that you're playing on, now suddenly you can more accurately way more accurately predict and defend against somebody who might do a particular basic flank. And this, by the way, these things explain a lot about why I, for example, can go down into like Silver Elite and I can completely bully everybody because they will do all of these tendencies. And that's aside from the skill level, by the way. At worst, they might get me with one lucky P90 rushing, running bull crap type of attack. But that's about it. Which, yeah, it's like a cliche, yeah. That's about it. Past that, these tendencies, they will appear in a lot of games. A lot of, like, mentally type of, like, basic things. They will happen again and again, as I mean here. Again and again. So try and make worth for what it is and abuse that to a larger extent. But, okay, let's say that your teammate is one of these guys who always rush around and do that sort of stuff. First and foremost, it's going to be hard to make them stop because maybe they want to practice becoming an entry fragger. Maybe they just have some sort of weird reason to do it. It's hard to tell. But if that happens, you want to try and accompany them and make it so that it's a bigger chance for you to be able to do a great job rather than not. Of course, it's not a given, and again, we are not predicting the future. I want to make that super clear. But understanding your teammates and maybe trying to mitigate how badly it can be executed is going to be very important. Of course, you can't always do it, but you might try and bait him a little bit. Maybe you have a good enough gun to back him up. Maybe not, and maybe you should just try and push a different place as well as he does in order to break things up and make it increasingly difficult for the enemy team. Sky's the limit, and there are a trillion ways of doing things in terms of strategy, but the general gist, of course, then will be that you're trying to make it difficult for the enemy while trying to sniff out and figure out the basic things they tend to do, and you will most likely be able to, because of this, breeze through a lot more of the lower ranks. Again, because you don't fall for the vulnerabilities, rather you are the ones that are trying to take use of them. Triangulation can also be done with people and communication and talks and strategies and whatnot, figuring out the true meaning or deeper meanings behind what people are saying or the motivations behind them. But those people skills aren't really relevant for this video, but I figured I should add it as well because long term you will be able to understand people a lot better if you somehow, like me, are able to use this in reality with people. But it's not normal, and it takes probably way too much time to learn, so it's rather a passive people type skill that eventually will happen. But at least to me, it has been very, very helpful in me cheering on my teammates, understanding what they truly think, what truly will motivate them, and it's been a secret blessing that I've enjoyed in trying to just have a good time with random ass teammates when playing matchmaking. So yeah, thanks for watching. Here are 2 related videos. Support the channel in any way, shape or form you feel like. Yeah, you guys know what to do. This have been your Norwegian hardcore PC gamer. I believe in you, and have a nice day.